I've been performing a lot at casinos recently, and that means that I perform at the casino, I sleep at the casino, and then the rest of the day I just wander around the casino. And I don't ever really want to gamble, but the gambling is just so seductive, you know? Like they have little pictures of gold coins everywhere or like shots of money, and it just really gets into your head. And scientists have studied this. They know that human beings are hardwired to gamble because we always overestimate the rewards. Your brain just thinks like, oh, I'm gonna win money, I'm gonna win money, I'm gonna win money. And it doesn't think, oh, I might lose money. And I understand this so well now because I lost so much money on this one game. What was it called? College. It was going to college. Not to brag, I did go to college. I majored in student loans, so. And I know, I understand, I take responsibility for it. It was my fault. I signed the little forms. I knew what I was doing. But you have to understand, you guys, I got into my dream school. I was not thinking clearly. Thank you, it's fine. I was seduced. The first moment I set foot on the campus, I felt like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, just looking at all the colors and sounds. And then it all kind of ended like The Wizard of Oz, where an old man comes out from behind the curtain and is like, oh, Olivia, you didn't need to go to college. College was inside you all along. And then he gets into his balloon and flies away with all my money. That's how it goes. I know I'm not alone. My generation, we have a lot of student debt. It's very common. I know we got out of school, we had the loan situation, and then we stepped into the world and we had to pay it off. And I hate to admit this, but one of the ways that I tried to pay my student loans was by teaching SAT classes to high school students, hoping to get into college and one day have student loans of their own. It's really terrible. I feel very guilty. It's I was bringing them into this terrible cycle in order to free myself. It's exactly like how Hugh Hefner's girlfriend has to find him a younger, blonder girlfriend to distract him so that she can escape. That's what I was doing. But I know, again, I'm not alone. This is a very common thing for my generation. We have the student debt, and then we got out into the job force while the economy was getting sick and dying. So it's not been great timing for us. And for some reason, that has made older generations very angry with us. As I guess makes sense. And I know this because I was talking to a man. He was in his late 50s, maybe early 60s. And we were getting along okay, but then he just lost it. Just turned on me. And he was like, your generation, don't get me started. When I was your age, I had a wife and a house and a job at the box factory. You millennials are an entitled disgrace. And I was like, whoa, okay, excuse me, sir. What are you even doing on OkCupid? And will you be paying for dinner or are we in a fight now? I don't know, but I think, I understand his point. There's a shred of truth in there. I know that we as a group are not stepping into, the same careers as our parents' generation. We're doing stuff a little differently. Just in my family alone, I'm a comedian. My brother is a stay-at-home son. And he's so good at it. He's the best. He's the best one. But I deeply resent the amount of hate that gets thrown at us as millennials. Have you guys heard there's one they call us the selfie generation? That's our name now because, we take pictures with cameras that weren't invented before. I'm sorry. How dare we? But I read an article online, and this woman was just losing it. She was like, the selfie generation is the most narcissistic, self-centered generation America has ever seen. And I was like, oh, are we? Are we the most self-centered in all of American history? Are we more self-centered than the generation of people who owned other people? Yeah. Remember them? The slavey generation? You just don't think of it. They were so much worse, but nobody thinks about it because there was no social media back then. Thank God. Because that would have been horrifying. I can imagine just the Facebook status updates. Trisha is sad. Favorite slave ran away today. Hashtag worst birthday ever. And then the slave would be on Twitter like, ran away today. Gonna head up north. Hashtag best birthday ever. Hashtag fuck you, Trisha. So see, I don't think we're that bad. I just think it's exaggerated. Whatever. I also think like I can feel myself slowly becoming an adult and like moving into that phase of my life. I feel it inherently. I feel it in my bones. It might be osteoporosis. Which, like, if you guys don't know, osteoporosis, just something that all women have to fear. I don't know if you know exactly what it is. Basically, as women, as we get older, our bones start to dissolve inside of our bodies before we're done using them. And like we're all at risk. It's very serious. I don't know why exactly it affects women but not men. I'm assuming it's because as women we don't want to be rude and leave a skeleton behind when we die. I'm like, oh my God, are these my bones? What kind of hostess am I? Oh, I'm so embarrassed I could die again. But it's real serious, you guys. And the way that you fight it is to like lift weights. That like prevents osteoporosis. So now I've been doing that. I've been lifting weights. And I think it's already working because a lady at the bank told me I have Michelle Obama arms. Thank you, thank you. I was like, oh my God, thanks. Do you mean that they're strong or just that they're black? One is a compliment. The other, you're just naming black arms. Which is fine. Black arms matter. I am black, by the way, in case anyone here didn't know. I know sometimes it's confusing. Sometimes people think I might be something else. I think they get thrown off because I have a small penis. It's tricky. I think I might need like slightly more validation than an average person because I was just kind of a weird kid, just kind of. And like some of it was my fault and some of it was not my fault. Like for example, my parents went through a phase where they were being very natural. They were using a lot of natural products. And during this phase, instead of lotion, they put olive oil on me. Because they thought that the life of their firstborn child would be better if she went to school slippery and smelling like pasta. Weirdly, it didn't work out. It was not easier. Also, at the exact same time as this was going on, I had a really bad speech impediment, which, if you guys don't know, when you have a speech impediment, you think you sound fine. You don't hear it at all, but everyone else can hear it. So, like, I used to go to school, and this gang of cool girls would find me, and they'd be like, hey, Olivia, wanna play a game? And I'd be like, uh-huh. And they'd be like, we say bunny. You say rabbit. Ready? And I was like, uh-huh. And they're like, bunny. And I would say, wabbit. And they would go, bunny. And I would go, wabbit. And they would laugh and laugh. And I just thought, oh my God, I am hilarious. I have a gift. I don't even know what I said. I'm just that good. But eventually I went to speech therapy because my parents felt bad and they're like, we have to fix this. And so I would go in, and the way speech therapy works is they just teach you to overpronounce the sound. Like, just say it like just on steroids, like a crazy person. And then they spend the rest of the hour just showing you pictures of things that you can't say. So I would sit down, and the doctor would be like, Olivia, what's this? And I'd be like, it's a turtle. And they'd be like, it's what? Because when I said it wrong, they just pretend they couldn't hear me. It was psychological torture, I'm positive. It's what? I was like, it's a turtle. I'm like, no, it's what? And I'd be like, it's a turtle. And they'd be like, good. That's a step in the right direction. Go to school, talk like that. Your life will be great. So I'd be like, rabbit. And they're like, oh my God, we broke her, run away. The worst days would be when I would come into speech therapy and sit down, and the doctor would walk in and be like, all right, let's get started. Does something smell like pasta in here? And they'd be like, no, it's me, my skin is dry. And he'd be like, it's what? It's just rough. I'm just an overthinker. Like, that's my problem. It always has been. I've always been that way. I'll probably be that way forever. And it's just bad. Like, things are fine, and then I think about them, and I make them a disaster. So, like, I remember being a kid and going to camp for the first time, and I was really stressed, like we all are, because you have to make new friends, and you don't know how it's going to work out. But I got there, and I got pretty lucky, because a really friendly girl came up to me right away, just like, great energy, big smile. And she was like, hey, I'm Katie. I love sports. I'm a tomboy. I was like, hi, Katie. I'm Olivia. I like sports too, but I'm not really a tomboy. And she was like, oh no, if you're a girl and you like sports, you're a tomboy. And I was like, okay, but couldn't I just be a girl who likes sports? Like, if you're saying that a girl who likes sports has to be labeled a tomboy, aren't you sort of suggesting that sports are a male thing and that you can't be a normal girl with a sports affinity? And isn't that like maybe feeding into stereotypes that have been holding women back for hundreds and hundreds of years? And should we be perpetuating that now as women trying to come into our own in a camp scenario? Thank you. And she was like, you're weird. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have a hard life. It's too much. It's too much thinking. I know that's what's wrong, because sometimes I'll wake up and like there's no thoughts in my head. My brain hasn't kicked in yet, and I will just feel for a moment total peace. And then my brain will go, good morning. And I'll be like, oh shit. She's up. That bitch is gonna ruin my day. Sometimes my brain will ruin my day before I even wake up. I'll have had a terrible nightmare. I'll wake up sweaty and screaming like, ah! And she'll be like, just kidding. I'm like, what? She's like, I was just kidding. No one's chasing you. I was just bored. Get up, make some coffee. Let's go. It's hard, it's terrible. I said I was black. I'm actually mixed. My mom is white, my dad is black. I just don't like the word mixed because I don't feel mixed, I feel consistent. But that is the case. My mom is white, which sometimes confuses people, just like who don't know us. So like I'll go to restaurants sometime and I'll be like, hi, I'm meeting my mom. And they'll just take me to Felicia Rashad. And I'm like, I'm honored, but that's not her. So I've had to try to figure out like a way to convey to them that my mom will be of a different ethnicity. But I can't just say like, hi, I'm looking for my white mom, because that sounds insane. So I'm testing things out. Right now I'm just like saying stuff like, oh, I'm looking for my friend. And they'll be like, oh, okay, can you describe her? And I'm like, yeah, she's a little bit older than me, very similar bone structure, but she's a bit more passive aggressive. And they're like, got it, let's go find your white friend. I understand that that joke might sound like I'm saying that all white women are passive aggressive, but I'm not. I would never generalize that way, and I understand like you could offend people. So like I asked my best friend, who happens to be a white lady, and I was like, hey, listen, does this joke make you mad? And she was like, what? No, it's fine. It's good, you should tell it. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. I love your outfit, by the way. It's great how you just don't care about fashion. So it's fine for sure. The thing, like, I love my family, I feel good about who I am, but sometimes it can be kind of difficult to be two different races because, like, obviously I don't feel white, but sometimes I don't feel like I really belong in the Black community, which is hard, that can be painful. So you can imagine my relief when some stranger finally called me the N-word. I was like, I knew it! I knew I was enough. It happened a few years ago. It was at a show. I remember it like it was yesterday. You don't forget your first time, guys. A woman in the audience stood up abruptly and walked to the back of the room, which I didn't even really clock at the time, but looking back, I was like, it was her. And then I got off stage, I was walking around, milling about, talking to waitresses, and this woman comes up to me, and guys, she does not look racist. She looks beautiful. She looked like Kate Middleton, which destroyed me because I love Kate Middleton so much. I stayed up, I watched that whole wedding. I tweeted about it the whole time. I tweeted like, hey, Kate Middleton, I'm so excited for you to marry Prince William. Or like, hey, Kate Middleton, your hair looks amazing. What do you do to it? Or like, hey, Kate Middleton, does Prince William ever say, here's the royal scepter, and then just hand you his penis? Because that's what I would do. But this woman, she looked like Kate Middleton. I was just like, oh, some woman's coming up to be nice to me. And she got in my face and she said, I've had enough of your fucking N-word bullshit. And then she turned around, flipped me off with both hands, like a racist candelabra. And exited the building like that. I'm sure she forgot her purse. But I was like stunned for a minute, and then the waitresses at this club, who are all great, like rushed me, and they're like, oh my God, we heard the bad thing happened, are you okay? And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. As a Black woman, I am appalled by the racism and the ignorance. But as a mixed woman, I just feel really validated right now. Shots for everyone. And I mean, this is the first time it's ever happened to me person to person. It has happened before on the internet, but like, let's be real, everyone gets called the N-word on the internet. Everyone alive, okay? Kate Middleton has been called the N-word on the internet. By me. Because she wouldn't respond to my tweets. And then I felt bad, and I was like, Kate Middleton, I'm so sorry I just called you the N-word. I got really worked up. And she was like, what? No, it's fine. It's fine, good tweet, it was really funny. I feel like in my past, I've always dated people who are very different from me because I find it really interesting. I like to like mix and match ideas and like, what do you think versus what I think? At one point, I dated someone who was very conservative, which was sometimes a challenge because I am very liberal. I think I mentioned before that I am Black. And we were having an argument over dinner that got very heated about food stamps. I, of course, think that it is morally repugnant to let people go hungry, but his position was, you know, people are not entitled to food. If you give it to them, it creates dependency, which is un-American. They've got to just pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna fight right now because I'm eating a really good steak. But I tucked it away. And then later in the night, when it was like time for romance, he like reached out for me and I was like, meow. And he reached out again and I was like, meow. And he was like, okay, so are we not gonna have sex because I don't believe in food stamps? And I was like, no, that's not it. It's just, people aren't entitled to sex. And like, if I give it to you, it could create dependency. And that is un-American. So you've got to just pull your dick up by its bootstraps. Yeah, thank you. Cool. I really do think that like you gotta have a great relationship when people are very different. Although I'm sure you guys have heard, I think this is like the word on the street, that couples, the longer they're married, the more similar they become. Have you guys heard that? Yeah, that's what everybody says. They're like, oh, they've been married forever. They're practically the same person. I think that's a myth. I think that's not true. If anything, I think that couples get more different the longer they've been together until they're like flip sides of the yin yang, just total opposites. And I think anecdotally, we can all kind of piece together that this is the case. Because like, think about it. Do you know a couple who like, you see them all the time, your friends, maybe your coworkers, only one of them talks? Right? Think about it. Think hard. Maybe they're related to you. Maybe you work with them. You see them a couple times a week, but you haven't heard the one's voice in 9 years. And the other one is chatty. Is like, how are you? This is how I am. Here's what the weather is. And the other one is just like standing there like a bodyguard. You know, or like those couples where one is just a rageaholic. Like everything makes them mad. Like the system and traffic and the weather and you. And then the other one is just in a Hawaiian shirt every day. Just like the chillest, man. Like has a drink somehow everywhere. Like it's the middle of church. They're like, shh, hey. Just easy breezy. Or that couple where like one does all the cleaning and the other is a man. Yeah, yes. I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. Although one time I told that joke and an old man with a long white beard stood up and started applauding. And I was like, we are not on the same page. I did not just say what you think I just said, sir. There's been a miscommunication. It's hard. There was like, I think, a generation gap, you know? Because times have changed. Times are just different. I've been thinking a lot about this and like modern American history because of the election we're having and everything, and everyone's talking about the 50s, and were things better in the 50s? And I feel like my sense of history has been completely warped by 1950s theme restaurants. You know, because like I know intellectually the 50s weren't good, but whenever someone says the 50s to me, I'm like, oh, the 50s, I love their French fries. They're so fun. We have birthday parties at the 50s. And it skews everything, you know? So like, I feel like the only way to fix that is to just spread it out, you know? Like have diners dedicated to other decades. Duh. It would be so fun. Like, can you imagine like a 1920s restaurant where like a guy in a spiffy hat comes up to you and you're like, here's your menu. This just in, women can vote. Just dances away. So great. Or like a 30s restaurant where they'd be like, the Depression hit, you'll have to get in line if you want some food. See what happens when you let women vote? So that's what they'd say. It's authentic. Or like a 40s restaurant where all the waiters are just handsome men in army uniforms, and one comes up to you and is like, I'm your waiter and you're my girl, but I'm shipping out tonight. Will you wait for me? And you're like, oh my God, yes, forever. And then he goes, but then you get hungry and time starts to pass and you see another handsome waiter, so you order from him. But then when the food arrives, your first waiter comes back, but his arm is in a sling and he's got a Purple Heart. And he's like, baby, you said you would wait for me. And you're like, I'm sorry, I was so hungry. You know? How amazing would that be? Because the 50s were bland. I want like a 60s restaurant where they're like, here's your bread basket, it's full of flowers. Or a 70s restaurant where they're like, here's your bread basket, it's full of Quaaludes. Or an 80s restaurant where they're like, here's your bread basket, it's empty. But the good news is, some people here have lots of bread, and eventually that bread will trickle down to you. Eventually. Wouldn't that be fun? I think that would be so fun. I don't know. I think, like, I don't mean to bring this up and be like, oh, we're so great and progressive in modern times. Because, like, some things are better, and then some things have just not changed at all. And, like, one of those things I feel, I'll start from the beginning here. I'm starting to sense, nearing the end of my 20s, that I would one day like to be married. It came as a shock to me. But it's real. And like, this has not come out of nowhere. I am in a long-term relationship. We are in love. We live together. We have an illegitimate dog. But anyway, I'm in this relationship and I'm realizing if it gets to the point where I'm like, oh, I really want to be married, I'm not really sure that I, as a woman, feel comfortable proposing. You know what I'm saying? It's the last frontier. It's a norm that is very hard to shake. Like, if you're a man, it's very simple. You just go up and you're like, hey, I love you. We love each other. Will you marry me? See, it's elegant. But as a woman, you can't get all the way there. You can be like, hey, I love you. We love each other. Will you? And then you hit a force field. You're like, oh my God, baby! You're behind a force field. What the hell happened? I was gonna propose. And he's like, I can't hear you. So then it's hard because, like, what do? You've lost control of the situation. So, like, there are strategies that you can choose from. Like, the first one is the most optimistic. You just wait. You just fucking wait. Because you'll go up and you'll try and you'll be like, I love you, we love each other, will you? Oh my God. Okay. I understand, I know what this is now. Feminism told me it wouldn't be here, but it's here. It's fine, you know what? Just checking to see if I could go under it. I can't. There's no way. So I will just have a seat, wait for you to do it. Just checking if it was maybe out of batteries or something. But it's fine, we're on the same page. He'll do it any day now, and it's been 10 years. You know, it's not ideal, is what I'm saying. I like instant gratification, which is why I think the second tactic is so popular. Now, I'm not endorsing it, but just watch how effective it is. The second tactic is you just manipulate your way through the force field. Just watch and then judge me. You're like, oh my God, I love you. We love each other. Will you? Oh my God, a force field. That can't be good for the baby. And it's down. I'm engaged. I've never been so happy. See, which one would you choose? Of course, I mean, like, I'm a progressive person, so, like, I would love to push the envelope and be like, we can do it, girls. Like, let's just take the bull by the horns. But then I fear that would look something like, I love you. We love each other. Will you? Oh my God, a force field. You know what? Forget it. Will you marry me? Oh, you will? I'm so happy. And the force field is down. And what's this? Oh my God, your balls fell off. It's not appealing. I think we can all agree that the second one was the best. Like my parents got together in the 70s. I mentioned my mom is white, my dad is black. And at the time, in the Mormon religion, of which my grandfather was a member, they did not believe black people to have souls. I know, but it's real. So of course, not because he was a bad guy, but because he was a religious guy, he was like, I do not approve this marriage, and I am recusing myself of my fatherly duties. It was pretty intense, you know? That was a hard line. But eventually, he came around, and he came around about the time my parents had me, which just goes to show you how charming I am. Even as a baby. Couldn't even talk yet. Putting butts in the seats. So I just feel like, I know it doesn't like, it's hard. Like raising kids is a whole thing. It's a whole process. You have to like manage them. They do stuff wrong all the time. Like I lived in a house with two amazing parents and my grandma lived with us, which was like the biggest blessing. My grandma is the best, by the way. We're super close. Yeah, super, super close. I love her so much. I call her Gram or Grammy Gram. Or graham cracker, because she's white. And so I was like, Grandma, do you mind the nickname graham cracker? And she was like, what? No, it's fine. I'm going to leave you with this last story that I think speaks to what I was just explaining. So my mom's big white family, they live in the South, and we don't see them very often. And I think you can connect those dots on your own. But one time we went, and it was, sadly, for my grandfather's funeral. My grandfather, again, was Mormon, so don't be sad. He did die, but he's not dead. He just went to space. I was at the funeral. It was a tiny funeral. It was only family. And in the time since I had visited last, my aunt had had a baby, and that baby was now a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old. And my aunt grabbed her hand and rushed her over to me, and she was like, Abby, this is your cousin Olivia. And clearly, Abby had not been prepped for me, because she was confused. She just looked up at me and was like, are you sure that you're my cousin? Because you're a lot blacker than I am. And my aunt was like, ah! And I was like, no, it's fine. And she was like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. And I was like, no, it's okay. Kids don't understand race. They're nuts. They just see colors. Like to her, we're just a continuum. And like, here's her and here's me and here's Dora the Explorer in the middle. And she was like, I don't even know what to say. I was like, let me handle it. Because I'm great with little kids. And so I just kneeled down and I looked at her right in the eyes. And I was like, listen, Abby, it's important that you understand that we are family. No matter what our hair color is, or our eye color, or our skin color, we're family. We're cousins. We are blood relatives. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, you're black too. And she was like, what? And I was like, fuck you, Grandpa. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it so much.